So, greetings and salutations to everyone. Welcome back to the Verandah Conversations. I'm your host, Antonia Valier. I'm a poet and I'm an author. This kind of look low. Let me see something. Maybe I should hold this in my hand. I don't know. Not sure why this thing. Oh, no. Okay. So, welcome back. I'm Antonia Valier. I'm a poet. I'm an author of, 3 books. Yeah, so this program is about basically discussing, different topics, and as time goes by, we'll see, what we can do from just move from just talking to actual action, because there will come a time when there has to be activism and there has to be community involvement, but people have to be educated and edify first. You know what I mean? So big up, everyone who is tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for always, watching my program, sharing it. When I have competition and people vote for me, I'm always appreciative. One love, one peace, as me I say. So definitely. Um, oh, someone is on YouTube watching. So give thanks. Thanks for supporting. If sometime I'm talking and I don't understand, I do apologize, because I'm from Jamaica. So sometime, the patois chip in. Yeah, right. Interesting, So the topic today is child free, and there's a difference between child free and childless. And one of the reasons why I thought of this topic, Shorty D James, pick up yourself, is a thing, people always ask you, when are you having children? And if you do end up have a child, them ask you when you're having the second child. And it was interesting enough that it just so happened that, like, on my phone, like, those things that always pop up, like the Yahoo News or some, I think because I'm subscribed to Genevieve, pick up yourself. I'm subscribed to because I read a lot of like New York Times and Washington Post, the whole works, and a lot of sports thing will come up as well. So yeah, the algorithm it'll work. So I read a variety of things, and some of my topics sometimes are inspired by Facebook posts, or I see some like an article, and I read it, and I said interesting. And so a lot of the articles were popping up on my phone about, child free and, people who chose not to have children. And I was reading, some of the comments and stuff like that. And I just found it kind of interesting, right? And so child free basically is the choice of someone who chose not to have children for various reasons. And childless now is not necessarily the person chose not to have children, but they are medically unable to have children. So it could be a case that they actually want to have children but can't for various reasons. While, child free would be the opposite. So they can, but they chose not to. So that's interesting, right? I'm currently child free, but I would want to have children someday. So it's not necessarily like I would say it's a deliberate choice on my part up to this point, because based on my own how I grew up, my own background, and what happened with my parents and stuff like that. And then growing up in Jamaica, it's a thing where you have to be very sensible in how you approach things, because it don't make any sense. When I was thinking, I was like, yo, it don't make no sense. Let me see. Love and blessings to Barrington Mitchell. Big up yourself on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Cameron, Willie, big up. if you oh wait, this is why I didn't want to touch this thing. It just moved. Let me fix it back. All right. So what was I saying? Yeah, based on my own, growing up and what I'm with my parents, I was like, yo, grow in poverty. And I don't want to go in details right now. Probably one day. Yeah, I mean, if you have watched my interviews, I've shared it. I've never eaten like, oh, I grew up and stuff like that. And it's kind of like the typical, like minute you meet somebody who grew up in poverty, it's kind of like this. It's very similar across the board. Like of course, everybody's story are different because I have some things that to me like never to other people. It's just unbelievable. Some things, some very detrimental things that I've but the general view of you grew up and you didn't have food, or you didn't have clothes, or you couldn't, it's the normal thing. My mother had 4 children, and she did the so-called right thing according to people because she got married and had children with one man, which is kind of like a rare thing for a lot of females, unfortunately. So she did the right thing, and my father just up and left for whatever reason, and he just never really looked back. So that was that. So Jermaine Crooks, big up, hey. And so from a early age, I always looked on and I said to myself, like, I don't want to like go and have children early, and then I don't know who I am because it takes a process. Like it takes a certain maturity for you to reach a certain point in life. Like you won't know everything about yourself, but at this stage in my life, at age 29, I think I'm a lot more mature, than I was, 18, 16, or whatever, or 21. And so I have no regrets because I think I've accomplished, you know, certain material things, and I've also accomplished things spiritually and in terms of growth for myself. So having a child now, it wouldn't be a problem, in my opinion, because I wouldn't necessarily like, yeah, you would still be giving up things, but I don't think I would be giving up. Like how a lot of people, they'll tell you the story, them parents had to give up them education or something like that. I mean, of course, I want to probably do more schooling, but I mean, having a university degree that's a lot to achieve already. And especially in the Caribbean, I think, I don't remember the percentage, but the percentage is pretty low. I don't know, is it like 10%? I think it's something like that. 10% of the whole Caribbean nation in terms of how many people have degrees. So it's a minute amount of people who have like a first degree. It's not like that common because education is so expensive. Everything in Jamaica is super expensive. When I say expensive, I mean it really expensive. Like we have a high cost of living in Jamaica. Right now, I don't even think people can afford to buy a house or buy, yeah, people can still buy land. I heard some cheap, but house, like yeah, listen, some price for house, like I think it's mostly foreigners will buy that are, people who leave Jamaica and are coming back. They probably can afford that because even if you are doing like even if you have a degree and you in a big job as them call it, you're still not getting a certain level of pay because I mean I don't even want to go into it like because I mean everybody facing the same thing. It's like a worldwide thing with politics and favoritism and nepotism and all those ism and schisms, according to the Rastas, right? So it's a common thing. So child free, people now in this time and this era choosing not to have children, having that choice and having that bravery because I consider it to be brave. Like trust me, if you walk on the road and people bombard, like if you walk past all 10 people, 10 of them will ask you, when are you having children? And them ask every single day, them ask you. Them who know remember them ask you yesterday and them ask you today. And as you age, people ask you. And no matter how much things you accomplish in life or how many things you contribute to society or whatever, that thing is where it's almost like if you're not, if you don't have that, them think your life is a waste. And so I just want to discuss it today, and everybody can have their own opinion. So as I say, I am currently child free, but in the future I hope to have children. I actually want to have like 4. I hope God bless me with that and probably more. I don't know. But me have to get the husband first. Yeah. So I have to link it biblically. And I know some people don't believe in the Bible, right? But for a moment, you know, just, and I'm going to go for the well-known scripture. There's 2 scripture pertaining to this, right? And people love to quote it. So the first one is Genesis, and it's Genesis 1, and I'm gonna read from Genesis 1, 27 to 28. So it's according to 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. 28. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. So I know a lot of people going to use this and say, see there, God don't tell us, say, you have to be fruitful and replenish the earth. So of course, most definitely, because I mean, growth is inevitable, and for our own evolution and continuance of Earth, we have to continue producing. But things kind of get tricky after a while because some people just naturally them just don't fit to be a parent. Them knowing of themselves, because some people just not motherly and some people just not fatherly. Another thing I found out is that somebody might be a good man or a good woman, but they're not necessarily going to be a good mother or father. I know that hard to, connect to a lot of people because a lot of people think, oh, I'm a good man, I'm a good woman, so I must be a good father, a good mother. I've come to realize that that's not necessarily so because being a mother and a father is a very serious responsibility and duty, and it takes a lot of your whole being, and some people just not cut out with, and we have to be true to ourselves. So I'm actually not against people who want to be child free. Now you might say, but you're a Christian, so you must follow the biblical words. But if you read the Bible more and more, you have to realize there are many prophets in the Bible who are child free. You ever think about that? I don't know about the women because I'm still reading and reading. So I don't know if every woman in the Bible did have children. But the point that there are prophets in the Bible who don't have children, and I don't see where God did condemn them in the Bible. And them still say, about prophet Elijah and Elisha. I don't read so far them have no children. And yet God speaks so highly of them. And based on the scripture, it's obvious that them get caught up in the chariots and, reach heaven. So I don't see no condemnation. So the Bible to me, is very, a lot of people say confusing. I don't know if it, as I say, I don't read it fully yet. So I don't want to really say anything. But so far that I'm reading, I am seeing where scriptures connect. Because even this scripture, I think Genesis 9, I'm not certain, Genesis 9 though, connect with this. That speaks about replenishing again. So each time you read something, you will find something that connects. And you might find something that counteract as well. And the counteraction is not necessarily a division of thoughts. It's more like a balance. Because the Father don't know, say, times and people are the change. And so you can't use the same teaching back then to sometimes use now. Not that teaching's changing. Because even if you use school, for example. So use school. There are certain teachings that teachers are using now, right? Even certain books, they are outdated. The knowledge is outdated. We surpass that right now. And so sometimes you're in class and you're bored because it not connect to your reality. So when I read the Bible, every biblical scripture, it must be an example that can connect to you now. So it makes sense to you. So if somebody read something to me and me can't make no sense, which is what I'm most time at school, like most time you're in school and the teacher, I teach something. Most of the time I don't get it. I'm not very good at maths, for example. I shouldn't really say that though. According to my maths teacher, I'm very good at maths. I have a mental block to it. I'm gonna agree with him, right? Mr. Shan, big up yourself. My maths teacher from Excelsior Community College. I can't forget when he gave us a test. So I'm the most horrible math student in his class. So he gave a test, and when he gave me my paper, he said congratulations. I was like, oh, you tell me congratulations for? So he said, oh, by the way, you're the only one who passed the test, and you got the highest. I was like, huh? So I was like, yo, this is something wrong. Like, so when I felt like I was the only one who passed the test, I was like, oh, what happened, sir? Sir, check back over my paper. I was so serious. It was funny. But teacher was like, I did check your paper. I'm like, so sorry, something wrong. So I was checking other people who are actually very good at maths, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm like, oh, no feel, like, oh, no make me pass. Like, that just don't make no sense. So my teacher, he did in drama once, and he was like, you're actually not bad at maths, You're very good at it. You're just, and say, don't practice, though. I'm like, no, because I don't like it. So I gave this example because guess what? Recently I did a course entrepreneurship and we had to do maths in it. And when I heard I had to do maths, I was like, yo, Jano. But then I met the teacher and it was interesting the way that he taught us. I was like, sir, can you teach me C-set maths? Like if you teach me C-set maths, I'm guaranteed to get one. The way that he taught it, every example, everything that he was teaching, he was comparing it to something. No. Right? And I easily got, and I was like, oh, I couldn't get all of this couple years back. Like, and he broke down every step. Like, because, and I think this is very interesting because my brain, I'm not very good at regurgitating information. My lecturers at UWA are, for example, always say that they're always amazed, oh, my presentation is like A class, but my paper is never A class. And they always wonder because I have the paper and I'm presenting from the paper, right? And they're like, isn't it the same information from the paper? How do you explain it better, vocally? And I'm like, because writing is hard, and I'm a writer. It's hard, and when you're expressing something vocally, it's more easier. You have more space. Sometimes I'm writing like there's multiple thoughts in my head, like I don't know how to express it on paper. So, anyways, get back to the story. So my lecturer now is like, I'm like, whoa, sir, like the way that he breaks down everything, I can see where he gets the result. And that's what works for me. Like I like to see step by step. So if you tell me 1 + 1 equal 2, I literally want to see, oh, 1 + 1 equal 2. You see, from I get that concept and understand it, I can do it. That's my thing. That's one of the reasons why I have so much problem with it. It's because I never really get the concept. They never really explain the concept in details. They always jump over things, assuming that you know when you don't actually know. So they'll be like, this, do that, and you get that. And I'm trying to like when I go home and I'm trying to work out, and then I get stuck because I'm like, okay, I do everything that my lecturer tell me to do, and then I reach a part and I don't know what to do next because I just can't, because I never get I never understand it. So I'm not very good at regurgitating things because I only can write things, oh, I understand it, and then I explain it. So if I'm reading, like reading something, this is why I wasn't like all that great in history, to be honest. Like I'm great presenting, but not great writtenly. Yeah, my lecturers always cuss me. They're like, I don't get it. You like when you present, like every time I present, they're like, whoa, this is A. And you're like, when I get your paper, like I don't get it. Why can't you just write back what you say? I'm like, but you all want me to write back what the book says, and most of the time I read it and like I don't even fully get it. Anyways, not to come off, the topic, but I was just giving a point, right? So that's with the Bible. Like a lot of people, they're reading about the word still, and the point that the Bible is written in parables, and them don't, spend time to help interpret it, or them give them own interpretation through flesh, and everybody run with it. And we have a lot of scriptures that people like to run with. And so, this scripture is one of them that people like to, I'm sure people will use it and say, see, but the Bible tells us they must replenish the earth. But yet them fail to recognize that what on there? But how come so much profit in the Bible? So much great profit we will love celebrate. They were trial free. What happened to those profits? That's a question. Are they not still going to go to heaven? That's interesting. So I was reading some articles, and a lot of women, especially, because I'm gonna go from the perspective of women. Sorry, guys, like I don't really like to talk about man side since I'm not a man, but um, you know, women who choose not to have children, the one thing that comes up is always that they're selfish. How can you be healthy and have a womb and choose not to? And I don't blame them, because the point that abortion rate is so high, there's a dilemma. And then the point that so many people actually have children, and then child abuse is so high and sexually abuse, and so many youths are homeless. Like I think it's very hypocritical of people to bash this concept while doing otherwise. So it makes no sense that we are saying, oh, people are supposed to have children, and then when they do, they don't do it right. Like so much messed up children. Like there's a lot of messed up children walking around, and there's a lot of messed up adults walking around. And you might say, well, parenting is hard, nobody now get the job right and whatever. The thing is, my mom is not perfect. She's not a perfect parent. I'm sure if I was to really like critique everything that she ever did, I'm sure I can find some fault. But the point that she herself didn't grow with parents, she was abandoned, like some elderly people in Portland raised her. And then for her to not grow with parents, and then what happened with husband and stuff like that, I can say like, yo, she did an awesome job. And I can say to myself, like, even the lack of certain knowledge, she had certain what would I say, certain way that people are now growing children now. My mother was doing it back then, and she didn't have access to information, certain information like that. So she was above her time, pretty much. So I can look and say, oh, I have a great mother, and she did a great job, you know, because I'm the example for that, right? And so your parents not going to be perfect. They're not going to do everything right. So I don't want perfect parents, and I'm sure most people don't want perfect parents. Them just want to them want you to do the basic, and a lot of people not doing the basic. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of children are unplanned. Unplanned pregnancy. You just so to just forward, and then you become a burden to your parents, because that's how they're going to view it. You become a burden. So people who actually sit down and meds these things, and them, because the articles that I read, and and even to use my own self as an example, it apply, like all of us are saying the same thing. Like when we meds it, we would think about it, we're like why would I put myself through all that? Like you're just not prepared. Your body, like you have to understand your own health, and the situation that you're in. Like a lot of people just at the age of 16, what do you know? At the age of 18, like them say age 18, you're up on your own. But I remember when I was age 18, as much as how intelligent I was, I'm looking back, I realize that I'm still never stable like how I'm stable now. So imagine having a child back then, for me, that just wouldn't make any sense. I would just be putting burden on myself, and I will be putting burden on my people, like whom I live with. Like them just don't have the money like that. Like that just would be, that in itself is selfish. Like why would I, do something like that? when I know I don't have the resources or a certain level of resources to take care of a child. So and it's not just about money alone. I know a lot of people like to think about, oh, it's finances. No, it's not just finances. It has a lot to do with, care, support, attention. You will have to be that positive role model for your child. And a lot of people, unfortunately, them feel that because people are suffering from their own trauma. They're suffering from low self-esteem. There's so much. So you see a whole heap of children, walking around and even late at night, and you'll be like, yo, where's your parents? Like, why are you on the road this late? Like, is your parent not concerned? Right? And then, the other issue of, single parent home is growing rapidly. Especially most children are raised by women. And, I'm not blaming women or anything like that. But obviously, there's a detrimental because the Bible in itself tells us it created man and woman and it created a balance. So, and we have a saying in Jamaica, one hand can clap, meaning you can't do it alone. No man is an island. We all need support. So those children who grew up in community, like even if your parents wasn't 100%, at least you had like grandmother, aunt, or the whole community itself. And people are getting more selfish more than ever right now. So this thing character itch. Guys, tell me if you're hearing me, because I see like my phone seems like it's itching a bit. So tell me if you're hearing me clearly or it's breaking up. Right. So a lot of people, choosing being child free where they don't want to, and it's very interesting. People always say, "Oh, you will regret it later," and they have interviewed several, women especially, and they're like in their 80s, 90s, and it turns out that they didn't regret it because it's almost like people can't wrap their head around the idea that you don't have to do certain things, like because we're all forced into doing a lot of things. The point that when some people refrain from doing it, people are saying they must go and be unhappy. It turns out that a lot of child-free people, they're actually more happier than people who have children. They even did interviews with people who have children. They said that they regretted having children. It was kind of sad. That just imagine the mother say, "Oh, she regret having you." And then of course there was other people who said that it bring them great joy and happiness. And some people say, well, it didn't really necessarily bring them great joy, but they're happy that they're doing it because they're contributing to society. And then some people be like, yo, overpopulation. So like there's many sides, there's many reasoning to why you want to have children, and to those who don't have children, and to actually have children, and then they're not doing such a great job in my opinion. Because Bless Sweet, big up yourself, and Itmore Reynolds, big up, right? So, all right, okay, this thing moving up and down. Quote the Pablo, big up yourself. Did I miss you? So the idea that people are saying, oh, you're child free and you're selfish. I don't agree with that. People have their choice, and I don't want to say it's against biblical teachings or it's with biblical teachings. But the point still remain that, Bible tells us you must, replenish the earth. I'm sure you can interpret that whichever. But definitely the point that there are prophets in the Bible who are child free, you would consider them child because they have no children. They never give birth to any children, but probably fathered children. And then you can't use that to judge people because some people are childless. They have a medical condition. So the topic is very interesting. Yeah, thanks for the love. Big up. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and thanks for supporting the channel, and the program. So if you guys see sometime that I'm leaning, that's because I'm on YouTube while I'm on Facebook. So I'm doing both actually. So when I'm on my laptop as well as I'm on my phone, right? So it's, it's up to you. It's up to you to pray and ask the Father, if your choice is in alignment with His word as well as His own vision for you. Because, sometimes we make decision out of self and we don't, ask the Father if this is really for you. So I have already gotten my prophecy. So I know what I'm working with. But I did know when I was younger that I couldn't have children back then because for obvious reasons, financial, and I was just not prepared mentally. That's an aspect of it as well. Like I see that as a big thing right now. People are talking about the mental aspect of things. And what's so interesting now, right, is that a lot of parents, especially in Jamaica right now, they almost like they want to get rid of them children. Like they can't wait for school to open. And I said, that's kind of sad that you're not happy with your children being home. A lot of parents are complaining, oh, when government is opening school and children not learning and da da da. And I'm saying to myself, charity begins at home. Like I know someone right now, who her child is 16 and is learning. And I'm talking about, so with the exception of people who don't have light or don't have electricity or they don't have books, obviously they will suffer. But if you have all of these things and Wi-Fi and stuff like that, like I don't get why you're not learning, especially at that age, 16. Like at 16, you're kind of responsible for your own learning. Like you're not a baby anymore. So you don't need anyone to tell you to take up your books. Obviously, I still need guidance, and online learning is rough. So I'm not gonna behave like it's not rough. What has happened, especially in Jamaica, is that we are behind time in teaching. So a lot of teachers don't know what it's like to be teaching online. That's one, because it takes a great skill. Two, a lot of students don't know, online learning. Like right now, several students and schools and people across the world, like they're not affected by online learning because online learning is part of their different method of teaching. It's there a long time. So realize a lot of people say no, because those parents they have not really taken their children in hand to really mold them. And it comes down to a lot of things. Some people just was not ready for parenting, and some people they may not be literate, but they can still parent their child. 'Cause I know a lot of people think people are illiterate. They are having all they are the one or they are the only ones having, these problems with children. No, that's not it. Brett Craig, pick up yourself. Respect. Whether you're literate or illiterate, I mean, it might affect your parenting skills, but not. It's a wide range of even people who are so-called educated. They're still having issues with their children. You remember the statement I made before? You may be a good man or a good woman and still not be a good parent. It can be the same. You may be so educated and you're just not a good parent. Because being educated don't automatically mean that you're a parent or a good parent. And also having the ability to have children don't make you a parent either. Or don't make you a mother and because I mean if you're healthy and you can do it, you can do it. And they were saying that not because you can, that means that you should. So not because you can have children, I don't think you should, because you should know if you're capable for it, if you're ready, and if you are ready to sacrifice those time, probably your education, and really get into it. So I give kudos to my mother because to raise 4 children, especially a 3 boy pitney on your own, I always tell my mom that she did a great job and she should not feel ashamed or responsible for anyone who don't take her good teaching or who choose otherwise than being an upstanding citizen because she did her duty And I'm telling you that she did her duty and she did a wonderful job. So any of us, our children, who are not upstanding and not doing the right thing, that's not on her because she did her duty. And that's what something I will also say to, parents who have children, and you did what you're supposed to do. You did your all, and you have nothing more to give. Don't blame yourself if your child is ungrateful or they didn't turn out how you expected. Because guess what? That's the world. We have a saying in Jamaica, 10 brothers and 10 different minds. And it says what it says. So it means basically you can have 4 children, they grow in the same home, you give them the same love, you do everything the same, right? And then you just find one who's a bad egg and you wonder, where did you go wrong? Sometimes you didn't go wrong. It's just that's what it is. Because the Bible don't tell us that we're we're formed in sin and shaped in iniquity. I need to get that scripture right. So I'm gonna look it up. But so sin is on the herd. So not everything is going to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. So no matter how awesome you did your duty and your job in raising children, it's possibility that and some people they have like 7 children or 14 children, and they're all awesome. That's among the few. And then you have some parents who did such a horrible job, and then they still have awesome children. So it's what it is. Like it's unpredictable. But child free. If you want to be child free, as I say, pray about it. Connect to the biblical words, and don't feel ashamed walking on earth with your own choice, because it's your choice and you know why you made that choice. And if that choice suits you, and you're probably helping Mother Earth too, because we're overpopulated right now, and too much abuse of children. These are topics that we need to talk about. So instead of shunning people who are child free, let's talk about who actually have children. And those children are now homeless. Some of them are in orphanage. Some are suffering from trauma. Some are suffering from child abuse. Um, so it's to me it's hypocritical, because you're complaining about child free people, and yet you are not an awesome parent. There's so much children in the earth suffering. Why are so many children suffering if everybody's such awesome parents? Or if it is a case that, oh, you did your duty, because the Bible tells us if you have children, you went ahead and did it without thinking of the consequences. And of course, I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not bashing, I'm not being judgmental. This is coming from a personal place. I didn't grow up with my father, and I must say that it had a detrimental effect on me. And basically, he doesn't live far from me. I'm not sure of his story, why he did not take of his responsibilities. I don't know if he's just not a good parent. I don't know his story. I've asked him before, but he never really give me a response. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. And I know there's a lot of young women or young people, they are suffering from the same thing, where they just don't have a good mother or a good father. And I know people say, well, move on and forgive. Well, I've forgiven him, but I don't have a relationship with him. Also, I don't talk to him, so I don't know how that works. I mean, he doesn't talk to me either, so that's what it is. And I always say that I hope I never get a husband like him. I want someone who is better than my father. And if I want someone, I want them to be a good father. Like like if God forbid if they were not a good husband, like if I was to trade off, right? That's how serious I'm about this topic. Like if the person even was not a good husband, they have to be a good father because of the impact. So if it's awesome, if the person is a good husband and a good father, that would be brilliant. But I don't want what happened to me to happen to another child. around to my children, because trust me, when you have experienced it, you know, and how it impact you. You will also get why some people don't want to even have children. You can get it because apart from their own, probably they just know they're not going to be a good parent. It could be that them just don't want to pass on certain genes, or it's a case that probably have some fear that whoever they get is just not going to be a good parent, and they're just going to create a next messed up child. And what's a concern is that most of these messed up children become psychopaths, sociopaths. Like most of them, like, you ever watch those programs when they're researching them and you hear them story? I'm like, it's just sad. Like, it's almost like you start to feel sorry for them because you're like, they had no choice but to be a monster because their parents created a monster. All the way that they were treated, or they were so abused. It's like how do you expect children to be what they were never taught and what they were never showed? Like it just is like love is something that you have to show, and it's something that you have to feel. And if you're not showed and feel these things, it's hard for people who have never feel those things to show it. So, when we sometimes I'm like, yo, get rid of the criminals. But then at the same time, that's the end result. What about trying to improve parenting? What about taking a hard look on the homes? What about people taking responsibility for how they, raise children and how they have children? Like, yeah, like if it is that you're true to yourself and you know that, yo, I'm just not a good parent. I'm just not like some people. I'm gonna say this, and maybe I get bashing for it. But some people, they should never have children. That's just it. Like I'm just gonna say it. Like you should just never have children. You know, especially if it is your fault why that child is the way that they are. And there's some men, they should just, I don't know, like probably just don't have children. It's very interesting. Like, I know people are always saying that women like this thing about contraceptive, right, with women. But what people fail to understand is that, women get, pregnant every 9 months, while a man can impregnate probably 100 women in a year. Think about that, right? And we have a culture in Jamaica, unfortunately. Yes, we always say it's slavery, but the point that it's such a worldwide issue, it's kind of want to look deeper than just slavery because it happened to a white man and it happened to Asian. Like some people are just not great. That's like, why are so many men having, children and they're not taking care of them? And when I say take care, I'm not just talking financially. I'm talking about, do you actually like lift up your child and tell them that you love them? Do you actually read to them? Do you actually support them at their games? Go and watch them. Like that is a big deal to a lot of children. Like even as grown as I am, when I go on the stage, right? Not that I always want my mom to be there, but trust me, there's a time it's a blessing because there's time when I go on the stage and there's so many people and I just feel nervous. And I look in the crowd and I see my mom and she's just smiling and she's just so, elated and she's just happy. And, I see that happy face and it put me at ease. And I said, oh, my mom is in the crowd, she's here to support me. Like that just brings a happy feeling and I just deliver so well, right? Like it does have an effect when somebody's there to support you, especially when it's your parents. Like, and just to see that joy on them face, like, man, as a child, it just brings so much joy to me. It put me at peace. It put me at ease, right? Like I remember even this when Coffee, I think it was the first time she was going on the stage, and she just leaned on her mom, and like that lean on her shoulder, and then she just go out there, and it was just fire performance, and I'm like, Whoa. Even Beyonce, like, yo, numerous times I'm watching her interview, she's like, doesn't matter how much time she go on stage, she's still nervous. Like, she's just nervous. Because it's just natural. It's a big event. That's the thing. Your body, it reacts. Like people who like, 'cause even if you're doing all that exam, you become nervous. Anything that is major important to you, you're gonna have this nervous thing. You're gonna have this thing. Your belly gonna get nervous and a lot of things is gonna happen to you. But if you have that support system and you see, a familiar face or a friendly face and they give you an encouraging word, or even if they don't speak to you, they'll just give you a smile or that look in their eyes. That's what parenting does. Like, that's the joy. Like, when parents look at their children, or children look at their parents, like, it can be a beautiful thing. It can be so much joy. So I can actually see the joy of raising children. Yeah, apart from the stress, but when they grow up and you just, see this little human and they come with their own personality and they're doing awesome things. Like, that's that's a lot of purpose and there's a lot of fulfillment, and there can be a lot of joy for that parent. Like, yeah, I did that. I had a hand in raising this human being, this awesome human being, and they're contributing to society, because we need more positive role models in society. We need people to continue to inspire, because inspiration, it moves a nation, it moves people. That's why Olympics and football, these things have major importance to us, because apart from the sport itself, is almost like, to see that person, their growth, and see what they go through. It's a testimony of faith, and testimony of their own life journey. And so life journey is very important. It's vital. It brings a lot of joy to people, and it always inspire people. So, you read about someone, and, you read about a boat, or Shelley and Fraser Price, and you hear about their struggles, and then you said, whoa, and they make it. It inspires you for more greatness. So there's joy in raising children. There's joy in human success and the human story. But of course, there's sadness when, you see so much struggle and, so much homelessness, and see so many, youths and children on the street, and, they're hungry. And you say to yourself, like, where are their parents? Like, is there no relative? Right now, the orphanage is overloading with children. And so we are in a dilemma. We're in a very complex situation and a complex cycle of thought and, stuff. Because, people say, oh, I want to be child free. And then some people will be like, oh, I'm against people who are child free. But then we have the abortion. And then we actually have people who have children. And then they're just horrible human beings. And then we create monsters. And so, yeah, that's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Market Trace, big up SM Market Trace, and Simba, big up Simba, and big up Brett. We'll tune in again and talk about a different topic. And you can also, comment down below topics that you want me to talk about. Or if you want to be on the show, if you want me to interview and showcase you, like, your products, your talents, the platform is here, because the platform, apart from that, it's just is my my profile. I'm here to showcase people work. I'm here to showcase people talent, because it's unity is strength, unity is love, and we have to empower each other, and expose people talent, and I'm here to do that. I enjoy seeing people greatness. I'm inspired by greatness. So big up Kurt Lang, for example. Amazai the Great. He likes to tell them precisely, and he likes to tell them about greatness, and that's something that I support. Greater heights. especially from where I'm coming from and to where I'm now. That's something that I support, and I support anyone who supports greatness and support inspiring people for better and greater things. That's what I'm going to continue to preach: positivity and, empower people. And I get empowerment from, my viewers and all of my Facebook friends and family, because I'm always reading the amazing stories. Because like Martin Robinson, for example, he graduated recently from UWI. I'm very proud of you. If you're celebrating birthday today, big up yourself. Sherry-Ann, Russell, big up yourself. Today is your birthday, so big up. Well, so if it's your birthday, big up yourself. Happy birthday. I wish you the best. I wish you more life, health, and wealth, more blessings. Definitely preaching more life, because we're still in the pandemic. And so I'm preaching more life. I'm also encouraging people to try to eat as many fruits as possible. Drink up your soup, your porridge, your different leaves. Some people are always making their different teas. Um, yeah, and drink a lot of water and a lot of fruit, natural made fruit juice. So if you can get your natural fruits and blend it up, do your thing, because it's about building your immune system. So even if you're taking the vaccine, I would suggest that you build your immune system before you take it, and when you take it, build the immune system afterwards, because nothing can work without food. So vitamins or anything like that can't work without food. They're all working on your food, and your system need to be built up so you can survive this time and time beyond. Because one day we're going to wake up and realize that COVID-19 gone, and we have to prepare for that. And in terms of our mental health, I mean, I'm not trained specialist in that, so I don't really have like a major advice for that. I don't want to give no wrong advice because I'm not trained in that area, but I can only encourage people to think positively, to get an hobby, especially during this time. Like some people have some free time now, probably take up gardening, like start grow some food, because there's food shortage. You have to be very aware in the world. So that's what I'm going to bring to you. Like, you have to be aware of what's going on in the world. Like, don't be naive. There's food shortage. So if you can have your little backyard gardening and grow some food, or, grow some food on your own stuff, like if you have pots, stuff like that, I'm going to encourage you to do that. Grow your food, grow what you eat, because there's a lot of GMO out there, and GMO is genetically modified organism. That's not good. Right now, I read where they are modifying. They're talking about people supposed to start eat insect. Of course, we know some people eat insect, but they want the whole world to start eat insect. I don't know about you, but yeah, me and insect not work too well. Yeah, me not like flying roach. Me not like lizard. Me not like insect. Period. Yeah. Also, I see where them beef, I see where some cow, like I see some cow where them grow in labs. You already know them grow chicken in labs. I'm like, yo, you know, like I eat a lot of vegetable, but even that, them are attack now, like these people, these so-called scientists, man, like I don't know what's with them. Like them attacking our food. I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to kill us off. Seriously. So yo, if you have your own land and can grow your food, trust me, you're doing wonders for your health and wealth. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for bigging up. So big up everyone who tuned in and watched. I hope you enjoyed the show. And next week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. I'm your host, Antonia Valier. I'm a poet. I'm an author of 3 books. And I want to big up Martin International as well, because recently, this year, I was nominated for my first IRAMA International Reggae and World Music Awards, which is a big award. And I'm so honored. And I want to big up all the stakeholders and big up all the fans who voted, even though I didn't win. But we appreciate the point that I got so much support. Big respect. Also, big up all the poets, who have been supporting me, who have been pushing me. Big up Max Wannett, Rasa Tiba, Amaziah the Great, Wise Word, Cherry Natural, Melanin. Who am I missing out? Richie Innocent. There's so many people. It's just be a love and respect. Black Eyes, pick up yourself. So thanks for tuning in next time and have a safe trip, have a safe day, and keep healthy and fit.